English broadcaster Jeremy Clarkson is known for Top Gear and the Grand Tour, two shows that revolve around motor cars. Clarkson loves cars, evidenced by the fact that he made them his career. Despite his love for cars, there's one that he has no love for, and that's the VAZ 2001. Want to know what it is about the car that makes Jeremy Clarkson hate the car so much? Keep watching to find out. First, let's talk about who Jeremy Clarkson is. There are many things that you may recognize the name Jeremy Clarkson from. He's an English broadcaster as well as a game show host who took over for Chris Tarrant in 2018 to become the new host of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. His work is not only on the television, although it's what he's most known for. For many years, Clarkson has been a published author. In 1996, he released his first book, Jeremy Clarkson's Motor World. Over the years, he would continue to write. In 2004, he started the book series The World According to Clarkson, which has produced many books throughout the years. Aside from his time as a game show host and an author, Clarkson is mostly known for Top Gear. Top Gear is a relaunch of a show with the same name that was released in 1977. The show was created in late 2002 by Clarkson and Andy Williams. Clarkson is also the head presenter on the show. Clarkson had appeared in 150 episodes before he was terminated in 2016, shortly before the 22nd season of the series. The series also went into hiatus at the same time. Moving on, let's discuss the VAZ 2101. The VAZ 2101, which is commonly referred to as a Kopika, is a car that was released in 1970 by Avto VAZ as the company's first vehicle. The car gets its nickname of Kopika from Russia, the Russian currency, which is exactly 1/100th of a ruble. The car was produced from 1970 and ran through 1978, and in that time span, 4.8 million VAZ 2101s were manufactured. It was one of the most mass-produced cars in all of the company's history at the time of its release. The car had a different name when it was distributed in the West. While exported in the West, the car was under the name Lada. The car itself is a re-engineered version of the 1966 Fiat 124 and ran from 1966 until 1984. In the year 1970, the car had reached 1 million sales. 2 years later, in the year 1973, the car had reached a capacity of 660,000 cars produced. From the time the car was built in 1970 to the time it was no longer being produced in 1982, there were basically no improvements or recalls on the car. Now let's discuss why Jeremy Clarkson dislikes the VAZ 2101. There have been many cars that Jeremy Clarkson has spoken out against. In fact, on his show, he has gone as far to publicly destroy cars, which is what he did for the VAZ 2101. Giving respect where respect is due, Clarkson said that the car was almost inevitable and that it was very capable of taking a beating. His compliment almost instantly turned into insult when he continued on to say that the car was a cockroach and that it could survive a nuclear blast. He continued on with the dig to say that it could survive a nuclear blast but not water, pointing a part of the car which had been exposed to water and was now rusting. He did not stop at just pointing out one rust spot either. He went around the vehicle and pointed out all of the rust spots he could find. He also pointed out that the car was far too expensive to be called the people's car, as it was. After looking at the car, Clarkson took it for a drive and decided that the best thing to do with it was to destroy it, which he did by tearing it in two using two large dump trucks. While on the topic of Jeremy Clarkson, let's talk about his departure from Top Gear. Jeremy Clarkson was on Top Gear for a very long time. He was on the series since it was first rebooted in 2002, as well as before. This is why the news of him leaving surprised and even saddened fans of the show. His departure from the show was not one that was decided upon by all parties involved. Originally, it started out as Clarkson being suspended from the series, which then turned into the show deciding they didn't want him back at all. The reason that Clarkson was fired was because of an incident that happened on set between him and Top Gear producer Hashim Twyman. When Twyman let Clarkson know that there was not any hot food available on set after he had gotten through a long day of shooting, Clarkson got angry. He became erratic and struck Twyman. Presenter Chris Evans said that he was surprised that Clarkson was fired for attacking the producer, and not the many things he's been in trouble for doing in the past, including insulting minorities, people with special needs, and the LGBTQ community, even being described as pig ugly and homophobic by the late beloved pop singer George Michael back in 2011. While we're talking about Top Gear, let's discuss what's happened since Clarkson was terminated. Top Gear was too big and beloved beloved to have ended over the loss of just one of its presenters, even if he was one of the most known on the show. Quickly after Clarkson was terminated, BBC announced that they would bring the show back in 2016 for its 23rd season. After Clarkson was terminated, his co-presenters Richard Hammond and James May were offered around £4 million to come back to the show. Despite the large amount of money, both men passed. Obviously, the BBC had no choice but to hire 3 new people to be presenters on the series. In 2015, it was announced that Chris Evans would be the presenter, and his co-presenters would be more than just 3 people, which was the usual format for the show. His co-presenters would be Chris Harris, Sabine Schmitz, Rory Reid, and Eddie Jordan. Along with them would be Matt LeBlanc, best known for his role of Joey in the hit sitcom Friends. Chris Evans would not last long at all on the series, being canned after he received complaints from both fans of the show as well as the people that worked alongside him on the show. Let's continue on the subject and discuss why Chris Evans was fired from the show. When Clarkson was fired, Evans was one of the most notable to speak on the matter. He spoke out publicly to criticize Clarkson not only for what he did on the set of Top Gear, but what he did afterwards. Fans were very quick to point out the hypocrisy in what Evans said, considering what came out about him during his time as the presenter of Top Gear. Chris Evans only lasted a few weeks into the season before Matt LeBlanc was so fed up with Evans that he threatened to quit the show if Evans was not fired. LeBlanc said that Evans very often acted in ways that were inappropriate to his co-workers. It was also said that Evans was a very jealous person. It was said that he would often get jealous when the other presenters on the show received more attention than he thought he was entitled to. Evans stepped down in July of 2016. The same year that he came onto the show, he exited it. It wasn't only because of what the other people on the cast said, but also the fans who said he did not do as well as Clarkson. Finally, let's discuss what Clarkson has done since he's left Top Gear. Jeremy Clarkson left the show in the year 2016, which has been 6 years now. He has done many things since then. For instance, 2 years after he was fired in 2018, when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? When he was revived, he was chosen to replace the former host, Chris Tarrant, who left the show in 2013. As of September of 2022, Clarkson is still the current host of the show. Clarkson is also still writing. His last book, Diddly Squat, was released just 1 year ago in 2021. Also in 2021, Clarkson returned to Top Gear 5 years after his dismissal. There, of course, were strings attached. Clarkson was not brought back for good, but instead for one episode to honor Sabine Schmitz, known as Queen of the Nürburgring, passed away in March of 2021. The show brought back Clarkson to mourn the racer, who had appeared on the show at times when Clarkson was hosting. Schmitz took over the show when the 3 original co-presenters left and turned her role from recurring guest to full-time presenter. After she had first passed, Clarkson was one of the earliest people to speak on it, telling fans how saddened he was by the death. Over the years, Jeremy Clarkson has had his fair share of controversy, but he's also collected his fair share of fans over the years, from racing fans to game show fans. What do you know Jeremy Clarkson from? What did you think of the VAZ? Let us know down below.